Hey y'all, welcome back. It's your girl T, and I am the founder of You Are Your Aura. For those who don't know, because it's your aura, you should have it your way. And today I have an exciting new topic for you guys, so let's just get right into it. So today we're going to be talking about trauma addiction. So I feel like we always talk about trauma in regards to what other people have done to us, you know, childhood and blase, but I don't really feel like we unpack the things that we do to ourselves that end up traumatizing ourselves. So I really wanted to get right into that real quick. So what I think a trauma addict is a person that is attached to their trauma identity and has embedded their trauma into their personality, their thoughts, their emotions, etc., etc. So basically, you could call a lot of people a trauma addict. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with it, you know? Life is traumatic. You know, from birth, we are traumatized from the moment we come here. So if you are a trauma addict, and if you figure out by the time that this video is over that you're a trauma addict, that's fine. Because now you know, and now you're going to heal it, and you're going to do better, and you're going to be a great person that contributes to society. Okay? But a trauma addict is a person that doesn't know how to separate themselves from what isn't beneficial to them. A trauma addict is a person that goes through the same cycles of behavior and same cycles of thought patterns and doesn't think any differently. A trauma addict is someone that attracts people from their past in different bodies. You know what I'm saying? So it's very, very easy to become a trauma addict and get so comfortable and staying in your trauma identity that you don't know when to stop. And that's most people's problem. They get to the point where I'm just so used to being like this that I don't really know how to start to stop. And I'm here to tell you that you stop by starting. Okay, once you realize that you have a problem, if you don't immediately tackle the problem just grows bigger, because now it's like the problem just like, okay, oh, you know about me now? Now I'm really finna punk you. No, you gotta punk the problem, okay? So most people that are trauma addicts, they act this out in ways that are like subconscious or unconscious. They don't really think about it, but it's there. Not many people are conscious trauma addicts, because it's like, if you're a conscious trauma addict, then it's like, oh damn, well I know I'm traumatized, I'm attached to my trauma, but oh well, YOLO. Like that, you don't really meet too many people like that. Most people are ashamed of everything they've done, ashamed of every flaw they have, so they would just rather pack it back into the trauma brain and just forget, quote unquote forget, and act like it isn't there. You know it's there. That's why it's in your brain. Okay, so the first step into obviously recognizing the addiction is, you know, recognizing the addiction. I feel like a really good way to do this is write. If you're a writer, you're a journaler, or you're just a person that just feels heavy emotions, just write it out. Not just to get it out, but over time you would have collected so much information on yourself that when you reread it in an involved state of mind, you're like, what the hell? I used to think this, and I used to think. You'll get so much information from yourself that you don't even know. Even the worst versions of yourself can give yourself more knowledge. So study yourself. Write shit down. Keep track record. Try to keep yourself so present in your thoughts that you can stop negative thoughts from entering your peaceful place. You know what I mean? And then say 3 positive things to yourself, or do something. You have to fit your recovery to your path. You know, when you go to the doctor and you have like a real serious illness and they develop a recovery and treatment plan for you, you have to do the same thing. You have to work with yourself like you're a patient. You have to be your own doctor, essentially. Be your own doctor. Bring yourself back to health. Bring yourself back to your desired well-being. You're bringing yourself back to self. You're not even just treating yourself, you're healing. Develop a healing plan for yourself. You need to write that out. You need to think that out. You do what you need to do, but you have to develop a healing plan for yourself, because if you don't have a plan, then what you got is just points. And if it's just points in no direction, then where you gonna go? Exactly. A trauma addict is usually a person that finds themselves in dysfunctional and controlling or environments that need control and structure that don't have that. So just very problematic spaces. And oftentimes, again, like I said, we always talk about what other people do to us, but we have to understand we do things to ourselves. If you are constantly attracting things to yourself, I'm not saying it's your fault, and I don't believe that people just attract negativity because they're bad people or they're unfavorable people. I think that's bullshit. What I think is true is that people need to have a better sense of self, because if you have a better sense of self, the shit wouldn't come to you in the first place. It's not about being a magnet for bullshit. It's about being a better caretaker for yourself. Bad things happen to good people all the time. Doesn't mean you're a magnet for bad energy. It means that you need to do better if you can, and if you can control it, do better in the areas you can. If you can't control it, you can't control it. But ain't nobody just walking around with a magnet like use me and abuse me, you know what I mean? Like, that's just not what people do. People usually get accustomed to abuse and trauma, and then they find themselves in situations where it's like, oh, okay, well, this isn't as bad as the last time, so it's cool, I can stay here. That's problematic, baby. Just because you're in a better situation than the last does not mean that it's the best situation for you. Remember what they say, the grass is not always greener on the other side. The first step in identifying if you're in a cycle in general is just noting how you feel. Like, if you feel, you know when you feel like you're in a loop. You're just like, why I keep going through the same thing? You have that inkling in your intuition or your gut. You have that little bit of information. Like I said, I always tell y'all, you are your best resource. You are literally a book of information that you need to study. When you get that feeling of something being off within yourself, you feel like you're in a cycle, you feel like you just keep repeating things and it's just things that aren't progressing, that's the best time to sit down and work out solutions with yourself, or sit down and reevaluate and reassess the situations that you've been putting yourself in, the mentalities that you've been putting yourself in, the things you've been ingesting and consuming, and things that you've allowed to consume your soul, your spirit. You need to just do an all around evaluation of self. And once you get those feelings and you're like, okay, well, I feel this. Why do I feel this? And then you like, oh, I feel this because of this. Okay, how did this become this? Or how did I allow this into this? Is it something I can have control of? Is this something that I can actually change? Or is this something that I just need to leave alone and then go on about my business? You just have to keep constantly. The truth always comes to light. And if you're not ready for the light to shine on you, just stay in the dark. It's just that simple. Like, not to be like the sink or swim type of people, but if you want to stay in the dark, that's fine. But don't be surprised when no light's coming into that room because you're not allowing it. You can close the door, but you asking for more. That don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even mean to rhyme, but that was a bar. That was a bar. You know what I'm saying? You have to constantly be on your own ass. And like, I don't want to say that you have to be a workaholic on yourself, but you know what I'm saying? Life is going great. Allow yourself to live life. Allow yourself to enjoy. Allow yourself to enjoy good things. Allow yourself to enjoy yourself, period, first of all. But at the same time, when you find yourself in unfavorable situations, when you find yourself in a place where you're not evolving, that's when you need to be like, okay, am I allowing things in my life? Am I being the one that's stopping the progress? You are responsible for your own evolution. If you are not evolving, then you are dissolving. Period. I keep having rhymes. Because you experience a lot of bad things doesn't mean that you were born to be a bad thing or you were born to experience bad things. It just means that life happens to everybody in different ways. And we can only deal with the cards that we're dealt. And if you want to be dealt a different deck, then you just have to keep taking the steps to align yourself with that.